right, hello and welcome to VOP This Morning. I'm Moses Humphrey. Nigerian banks now have a mandate to collect customers' social media handles, email addresses, phone numbers, residential addresses, and other relevant information. And that's courtesy a new directive dished out by the CBN. In the meantime, you may like to click on the like button and subscribe to our page on YouTube, as subscribe to our pages on YouTube. It is Voice of the People TV up on YouTube, and on other social media platforms, voptvlive. Now that topic is what we'll delve into this morning. That's our very first topic for the day. But in the meantime, let's go to the front pages of some newspapers and make sense of the headlines for today. It's the 26th day in the month of June 2023, and I have with me in the studio VOP in-house analyst Cyril Abaku. Good morning to you, Cyril.
Good morning.
Now let's get on with the dailies, of course. Now one story that I saw this morning that got me worried was the fact that ex-depot price has increased from 400 to 505 naira a litre, which basically has also increased the how much it goes for at the pumps. But anyway, let's start off with the Nation newspaper. Nation has these headlines: why discos are bent on electricity tariff increase, AEDC fluctuation of naira exchange makes upward review inevitable, and eminent Nigerians mourn mass communication prof. Lai Osho. Experts optimistic despite foreign reserves drop to $34 billion. And on top of the nameplate, Envoy, population of Nigerian students in UK rose by 107,000 in 3 years. Zenith Bank CFO Mukhtar wins Africa's award. Largest ever pilgrimage begins in Saudi Arabia. And also we have Dogara Oshoba back petrol subsidy removal, service chiefs. And at the bottom part there we have flood sweeps away newlywed man in Ondo. Gunmen abduct 9 passengers. All right, so these are the headlines on the cover page of the Nation newspaper.
See, no matter how you want to be sympathetic with your government, no matter how even that government wants to appeal to your emotions, appeal to your mind, that it is there in your best interest, that it is there to take hard decisions, it is important for us to note that lunch will still not be free in Freetown. There is still a battle to be fought. There is still that very government to be held accountable. Now you see the story about electricity tariff and why it is going up. They, in fairness to the discos, from what we see now, it's not really that they want to arbitrarily raise the prices, the cost of, or the tariff of electricity. I think this is mostly caused by consequential factors, which we are now getting to understand is really behind what is going on. The ex-depot, whatever affects petrol in Nigeria affects everything.
Every other thing.
Because we've not found a better way to power our dreams and our goals. At the time when federal government has also imposed VAT on diesel, so do you sincerely think that people, business owners will sit back and clap and say government has done the right thing? Do you think the price of things should go down when cost of production is going up? I don't think it's going to happen. Anybody praying for such a paradox must be a criminal. It is fraudulent to hope that cost of production is going up and the price of things are going to come down. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So we must sit down and have a conversation. I'm personally thinking that if government was bold enough to tell us subsidy is gone, if government is bold enough to say, to take some decisions it has taken already, why is it that when the consequential issues come up, they are quiet about it? Why are they not on the front burner? Why are they not on the front foot about this electricity tariff increase? How much should the public go over it, go over the topsy turvydom of a public discussion before government will now come in and say, no, we think this is what should be done. Let's step in. You must subsidize. if you don't subsidize in one area, you must subsidize in another area. I've said it again and again that taking away petrol subsidy was because the corruption there was just too much and we couldn't manage it anymore. It's fine. And since we don't have the boldness and courage to deal with the perpetrators of that corruption, it's fine. Take the money away. But where are you going to put? You must subsidize, sir. You must subsidize. So this discussion about you've what's the discussion? You've hold your magic one. You've hold a stick at a spot where flies were perching over sugar or something, over something sweet, and now they've flown into the air, and you keep quiet about that. There's a consequence of them flying into the air and beginning to perch on other things. You must take care of that as well. So if you're bold enough to deal with the main issue, go deeper to deal with the consequences. The consequences also.
All right.
If when landing price of petrol has increased, excuse me, that's taking more money from us through the back door.
Let's take these headlines from the Vanguard as we talk about the increase in ex-depot price of petrol. Vanguard has its banner headline: Forex scarcity persists as CBN resumes intervention. Banks ignore CBN's directive on domiciliary accounts. Exchange rates converge around 770 naira a dollar. And on top of the nameplate, we have a governorship election. Elders Council raises alarm over Kogi's political violence. Zenith Bank's Mukhtar Adam wins CFO of the Year award. Otom accuses Governor Aliyah of persecution. Court stops Kano government from further demolition. Subsidy, lack of license, foreign exchange, others hinder fuel importation. Now, it's interesting to note that companies that applied for license to import have not been given. The 6 that have don't have money to import because of the price of the dollar. Now, where does that leave the common man?
No. It leaves him in the city next to hellfire. But the challenge I want to throw out this morning is simple. We've unified the exchange rate. We've said that we've devalued and we floated the naira, which is what economists had been clamoring for years. I remember, may so rest in peace, Henry Boyo wrote about these things. Now, the question on the table is this: when you float the naira, the whole idea was it for government to just take its hands off fixing the rate and then hoping that it will not do any other thing again and see the water find its level or just on its own like that? Is that what government was imagining was going to happen? Or what was the end game? It's just to float it and take your eyes off the ball and believe that it will find its way into the net.
But the president did say in a statement that he went off script to announce the removal of subsidy. Mm-hmm. He said that he went up, that it had actually been expunged from the script, but he had to go off script because it was mandatory for it to go. And we all agree. We all agree that it was necessary for it to go. But then, why don't we go slightly off course to ensure that palliative measures are immediately put in place? Immediately. I mean, if you're announcing that, look, this thing is going off, if you're saying it's gone, then by the next day, we should have seen some measures being put in place.
The conversation was simply supposed to be this: my predecessor has made sure that subsidy is gone. There's nothing I can do about it, and we all accept that this subsidy must go. Therefore, having come to inherit this situation on my hands, this is what I'm going to do going forward. He didn't say anything. In fact, what happened was, of course, the usual thing is government says no more subsidy, labor threatens, they have a discussion. This is the thing. Government ought to be taking the initiative. Is that not so? To say this is what we think we should be doing. Labor, come over, let's have a discussion. Now, do you know, Moses, where I was really going with this conversation was the fact that people can no longer import petrol because of the cost of the dollar. And when you floated the naira, what steps did you also take in beyond what the letter the CBN issued? What steps have you taken to make sure that the dollar is in good supply? This is the point. Where is the dollar in supply to cushion, to make sure that, because I mean, if the dollar was flowing freely, people can access it and then do business with it. Are we still holding the dollar? Are people still doing round tripping? We cannot go from where we were to where we are and remain where we were before. I think that will not be right. So it is important that we understand the stakes. And if people are applying for license, I think we should even expedite the process. Okay? I don't know what the requirements are stated on the table are, but the fact remains that we could even have the way we have the big corporate companies and the SMEs. If anybody that can import 10,000, if someone can import 5,000, as far as you can import and make a profit, please, they should be allowed to at the barest minimum, they should be allowed to do it. I don't know why. I don't know how long it will take for license to be given, because the fact is we've taken subsidy away. I think that should have automatically opened the way for people to be able to rush in and do business. But if you've taken subsidy out, and then we are still dragging our feet on
issuance of licenses,
then it makes a mockery of the whole.
The NNPCL is still the sole importer.
It's a joke. I mean, seriously, it's a joke.
All right, let's take some more headlines from the Vanguard newspaper now. Why we recommended suspension of 23 LG chairman, Benway speaker. UK waiting for Tinubu to name ministers, envoy. We are optimistic of improved security, says acting IGP. Tackle insecurity head-on. Baptist Conference urges service chiefs. Dogara to Tinubu, bring subsidy cabal to book. Illegal mining, Taraba governor suspends activities. All right, so these are the headlines. These are all there is. Well, we'll have one on sports. Niger Super 8 Rivers United win 5 goal thriller against Bendel Insurance. That's from sports. All right.
Sports. Well, let's leave sports for now. Let's come to. I think Dogara saying bring subsidy.
Cabal to book.
For all that the presidency keeps on saying about the president's master strokes in social engineering, taking bold steps in government and so on, it's fine. But there are still the main issues that have not been dealt with. There are main issues that have not been dealt with. Two things, for example. Somebody went to visit the president, aside of going to see the president, had discussions with the president, then came and told the world from State House in Aso Rock that the military was behind oil theft in the Niger Delta. This was weeks after the service chiefs had gone to meet the president, and 2 headlines emerged. One said the president had given the service chiefs a new security blueprint of how to deal with insecurity, and he had told them that he didn't have the patience to accommodate oil thieves, that they had given the marching orders to deal with oil thieves. Another section of the media chose to report and said that the president had told the service chief to go and generate a new security template with which and bring it to him to fight oil thieves and fight insecurity in the country. He couldn't have spoken from the 2 sides of his mouth, but it's fine. Weeks later, aside Akbar goes to meet the president says, then and comes out and tells Nigerians, says that the military are the ones behind oil theft. For me, the president has the right to hire and fire the service chiefs. I shudder to imagine to think why they needed to use that sort of, So
you think it was
no, but of course, in government, nothing happens for nothing, and they didn't come out to denounce anything aside of Bosset since that time. So why wouldn't I put one and one together to make my conclusions? You have the right to say what you say. I have the right to interpret it how I do.
It didn't fit.
Yeah, so the man came and said those. I thought it was a very weak way. I mean, it was a weak ball, really. If that was a strategy of easing them out, it was a very, because he said that, and the service chief said, name whoever you know in the military that is behind oil theft. the former chief of defense staff, Lucky Rabo, said that when he went to Delta to destroy the barge that was being used to siphon fuel, he said it was the order he was given. And who else can give you a service chief orders? The CDS. There's only one person or two people that can give him direct orders. It is either the president is giving him the order, or the officer of the NSA on behalf of the president is giving him the order. Or if there's any other person, they can tell us. Buhari can tell us. But the fact is that the CDS said the order they were given was to go there and destroy. I do not think that anybody who is a service chief or security personnel undertaking internal security operations will do shoot to kill or go to destroy. It is first of all go arrest, secure, and then bring back for prosecution and trial. But this man said the order they are given. Of course, the CDS does not owe me to tell me who gave him the order. I understand how these things work. He's the CDS, of course. So I mean, he owes Nigerians government owes Nigerians accountability basically for transparency. But the CDS said it was the order he was given. Is it that I would love to ask him, what is the color of the camouflage you're wearing? When I know that it is green and black and white and maybe white. So this is the point. Now the president had met with them. When Asad Akbar said what he said, they said name whoever you know is responsible for what you said. The following day, the president tells them, guys, pack your bags and be on your way. It's fine. But I don't think that, I mean, this whole drama alone doesn't tell me that, doesn't seem to look like somebody has clear vision, clear purpose, determined agenda on what you want to do about insecurity and oil theft. You know why? Before you want to tackle a problem, you need to define what the problem is.
Okay. This
strategy is a failure of definition because it all looks like a political arrangement. It is convenient. We are now, the CBN governor is in detention. It looks like a political arrangement to me. Bawa, it looks very political to me. Until we are willing, where in the world do you arrest somebody and his cronies will not run away, will not go and hide the evidence? You should have undertaken your investigation first of all. When you arrest, you indict. The person will do blip again with you. You arrest and indict immediately. Say, Oga, we have investigated you. This is the smoking gun with your fingerprints on it. What do you have to say? Says, I'm sorry. Okay, then let's go to court. Tell us some more about who and who else. So that what we'll do when we go to court, we'll tell the judge to give you 10 years instead of 30. That's how crime is fought. We also what happened to Hush Puppy and the Woodbed and all these people. Nigeria does never is not in the mood to learn. We are not interested in anything. Propaganda, manipulation,
social media trials,
and Christ. Sincerely speaking, I find you will soon make a hero out of Emefiele. The way you made a hero out of Dasuki and out of IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, you soon make a. Do you know that if the president released Nnamdi Kanu today, Nigerians he will be seen as a hero. I personally don't believe in what Nnamdi Kanu is fighting for. I personally don't believe in it because I prefer the diversity of our richness than saying let me go and form a just state, let me go and form Biafra state, okay, or Ududuwa or Arewa, whatever it is. But the way and manner in which we've gone about dealing with Nnamdi, it just shows that the man now looks like he's legitimate. So back to the point, we must sit up and wake up. The way we must define what the problem is. First of all, this president 20 years ago was a hero of not only democracy, was a hero of fiscal federalism, restructuring, what the Nigerian state should stand for, how Nigeria can become a better Nigeria. He was among the sponsors of the Pronaco conference in Lagos 2005, 2006, even 7. Whatever happened to all these things? He has come into office, people in Plateau are still being killed. Why do we think that changing service chiefs was the problem? People in Plateau, they are being slaughtered like they were cows. He didn't, on the day he was inaugurated, they were killing people. Days before they were killing people, days after they were killing, the president has not issued one single statement about Plateau killings. Do we want to gloss over these issues? I don't know human beings, I don't know Nigerians. Why is the politics of service chiefs the main issue? That's why I said there are some key issues that are in the background. The president must not, this thing with glossing over issues, he's somebody I admire for his political sagacity, to be honest with you. He understands the Nigerian system very well. But if we see this trend continue, some of us will be we will be more than glad to tell him the truth every day we're on TV.
All right, then let's look at the Punch newspaper before we wrap up this segment of the show. Banner headline on the Punch has it that Naira devaluation pushes up vehicles duties by 40%. Customs raise exchange rate from 422 Naira to a dollar to 589 Naira a dollar. Operators kick as import duties jump. Economists berate FG, say policy will cause job loss, impoverish Nigerians, worsen hardship. Nigerians have been told to expect to pay more for vehicles, and the effect of that will be increase in the price of vehicle parts as well. So let me take some more before you respond. Debt servicing rose to 1.24 trillion naira in Q1 2023 report. Discos failed to remit 208 billion naira, says FG. Lagos Ibadan gridlock traps motorists for hours. All right. So yes, these are some of the headlines. I'll take the rest after. Okay. All right, Sarah.
Yeah. So the matter about the gridlock, which we spoke about it some days ago. We're back at it again. Perhaps a section of our laws should not be amended to give us liberty, relief, to be able to sue government departments that are not living up to their billing. There's section of the law that talks about the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy about government powers to create roads and bridges and so on. The law didn't say that if they didn't do it, you can sue them. It didn't say that. It only said these will be the matters or items that will constitute government's policy direction. But it didn't say that if they didn't do that. That's why you can't sue government if a road was bad and people died on the road and maybe there was an accident. The professor of mass communication had died over the weekend. I understand he had traveled and was coming back on a bad road. Mm-hmm. Professor Festus he died on a bad road. Nigerian intellectuals of global stature, people who have done research, people who are not, whose names are names in the world, who are among the who is who in their generation in the world, will die because just they died because of a bad road, because there was an accident on the road. You don't hear that happen in Senate climes. But you see, you cannot hold government to account because the government, at the end of the day, does not owe you. You owe the government with your taxes. But government does not owe you. I think that the philosophers of state policy and the people who taught the philosophy of government, I think that given our peculiarity and particularity of things, we can revisit that thought to question it and say, why can't the citizen sue the government? Why can't this? Because if I part with my money, I buy a bottle of drink or I eat in a restaurant and there's an injury to me as a result of that particular action I took, that entity is liable for, is liable, could be held in contempt, could be sued. So I think that we need to come to that point where we can sue government and seek relief, seek damages. Sometimes when election time is even coming here, you see them, they come and dredge a road, they come and level it up. Moses, the first rains that fall take everything away.
Of course.
There was a professor at the University of Lagos before he died, Professor Ebenezer, I can't pick his name. Ebenezer, he even won the Nigerian Prize for Science. Who invented a particular substance or chemical, whatever, or compound or stuff that can cover potholes, that can take your potholes. This is globally patented. Is it that we are not aware that there's that a Nigerian inventor has invented the solution to, and yet we won't use it? All the discussion around diversifying the nation's transport system have all come to a halt. Nobody is talking about any look until private people are willing to come in and invest, local investors really have the capacity and willingness to seriously invest, we won't go forward. So I personally don't see any argument that anybody will want to put forward. Are we developing or are we going backward? I think that if we can come to the point where we can sue the local government chairman, sue the Department of Works, sue the Department of Public Utilities and say, anybody that has been using borehole in his house for upwards of 5 years can go to government and say, pay me for the money I've spent on boreholes. I mean, if we can do that, then maybe we'll see government sitting up better. Or we say that if a governor was not able to deliver in a certain way, when he leaves office, no pension for him, no, whatever. But something very punitive should be there. So that even if a godfather is putting him in that place, he will know that his own future and destiny is also at stake.
All right, then some more headlines from the Punch also. Masked gunmen kidnap Ogun businesswoman, villagers rescue farmer. Clerics warn Muslims not to borrow for Salah Rams. 452,443 UTME candidates jostle for 78,578 medicine spaces. All right, these are, well, that's all the headlines we have from the Punch newspaper.
The appetite for the golden fleece, as they like to call it, is not going to go down anytime soon, because in Nigeria we've become highly certificated and place a lot of value on schooling as your way into as a way to a better life anyway. Yes, as a shortest cut to a better life. You'll be amazed that some of these people who want to study medicine have already planned that once they're done with their studies, the next thing is jackpot. I mean, if your motherland is your father, if your fatherland is on fire, and you want to run away, you shouldn't run away to a place where you now be the one that is on fire. So if you want to seek a better life, if you want to go out, travel out of Nigeria, and be a person of worth, be a high income earner, the simple thing for you to do is to look for acquire what it is that will make you relevant. Yes, to go there. Our education today is not tailored to meet our local needs as a people. There are a lot of things that the world has moved on from, but Nigeria does not seem to be willing to move. And I think that until we begin to invest in education and invest in the value chain that helps people to move from one strata of society to a better strata, we will continue. Everybody wants to be a lawyer, everybody wants to be an architect, everybody wants to be a doctor, be an engineer, but the world is a whole lot more than that. In any case, even if you wanted to be something else, do we have what it takes to train and to make you become what it is you want to be? Moses, let me wrap with this.
Okay.
Let me wrap with this. Education is an endless process. It is continuous, both before, during school, and after school. It's a continuous process. That's why in our homes we should have libraries, because you continue to learn. They say if you stop learning, you've died. But then, Silicon Valley, for example, is where the real civilization is birthed, because when you're done with school, or when you're done with whatever it is you're learning in a formal sense, you now want to eagerly
practicalize.
But you know that in Nigeria, I don't know whether it happened to you, for a lot of people, is when you're done with school, say, thank God I don't finish. I don't tire. My lecturer showed me paper. You don't do. You pack your certificate, maybe you put it in a corner.
Look for a means of income.
So the person the person wanted to be a lawyer and wound up becoming a mass communication graduate is now a makeup artist. How do you marry? How do you marry? Something is wrong.
The reality of
something is terribly wrong. Something is very wrong.
All right then. Well, time is of the essence, and our time for newspaper review is up. I must say a very big thank you to you, Cyril Abaku, for joining me on this part of the show. But I probably will have to come back to you later on in the course of the program. Well, up next on VOP this morning, should your bank go from keeping your money to being a big brother? Well, it's a simple question, but could be the next big thing when we talk about democratic freedom in Nigeria. All right, now let's talk about that when we return.